hell of a, she's so fine. Hell of a, blows my mind. Hell of a, lights my day.
Hey guys, I wanted to do an update on the Taylor Blackwell case. That is the 19-year-old girl who was found in the Woodspring Suites motel or hotel in Sacramento, California on February the 28th. And what we're essentially waiting on now is the autopsy report from February the 28th. Okay, so I wanted to give an update. This is from ABC 10 out of Sacramento. It says, Taylor Blackwell died 5 months ago. Her mom is still waiting for answers from police. Chiffon Buckner said she hasn't received any more information about her daughter's suspicious death, which happened at a Sacramento hotel in February. This was authored by Janelle Johnson of ABC 10, and it was published at 6 o'clock p.m. On July 30th, 2020. It says, Sacramento, California. It's been 5 months and Chiffon Buckner has still not received any answers on her daughter's death. Taylor Blackwell, 19, was found dead in a Woodspring Suites hotel room in Sacramento on February 28, 2020. Buckner said she thought she was going to receive an update about Blackwell's case when police detectives visited her home earlier this month. Instead, they asked her questions she'd already answered for a different detective shortly after her daughter died. Quote, I feel like they are liars, and I don't trust them, Buckner said. I feel like they never intended to make Taylor's investigation a priority, and now that we're fighting back, they're trying to make it seem as if they're doing their jobs in a timely and efficient manner. But I don't believe that for 1 second, end quote. There's a picture of Chiffon Buckner with her daughter, Taylor Blackwell, on the right. It says she was her everything, and it says this picture was taken in 2018. Sacramento coroner Kimberly Jin said her office usually takes 4 months to complete death investigations for cases like Blackwell's. She said the autopsy was done in March and the report should be coming back shortly. Quote, to accurately pinpoint a cause and manner of death, more investigation is needed. This is an active investigation. I can't talk about anything connected to the investigation until it is complete, end quote, Jen said. A spokesperson for the Sacramento Police Department said the case is still active and there is no current update as well. Barry Acius, I really don't know how to pronounce his name, and that's the best I've got right now. Could be Axius. A Sacramento-based activist who runs the organization, She Could Be My Daughter, said it doesn't make any sense for Blackwell's mother to still have no answers this long after her daughter's death. Quote, they haven't given the right answers, nor have they supported the family and friends the way they should have, Acius said. They dropped the ball. Their negligence shows. I'm hoping they have some sort of explanation about how she died, end quote. Acius has arranged demonstrations across Sacramento to bring attention to Blackwell's case and demand answers about her death. He said he wants Sacramento police and the coroner's office to care about a, quote, black 19-year-old girl who had all her life to live, end quote. Quote, I want them to act like this is their child. I want them to forget about her zip code. I want them to not have a bias. I want them to feel like this family needs justice. I want them to make a statement that black women will be protected here in Sacramento, end quote, Acius said. Buckner says she's grown angry about the lack of answers from the coroner's office and the police department. She said she doesn't believe she will find out what happened to her daughter anytime soon, but she's going to continue to fight for answers. Quote, if a fight is what I have to do to get the answers that I need for my daughter's justice, then that's what I'm going to do, Buckner said. They're now dealing with a mother who doesn't have anything else to lose because I already lost the one thing that mattered the most to me in this world, end quote. Chiffon Buckner said she hasn't received any new information about her daughter's Taylor Blackwell's death. She spoke with Janelle Johnson to discuss what these 5 months have been like for her. And I'm going to play that video.
I had over 20. Chiffon Buckner.
See, I knew that video was going to start tripping, so I had to stop it and restart it. But we're back now. We're ready to go.
Chiffon Buckner says she lost the love of her life when she learned her 19-year-old daughter had died.
I don't know life without her. She didn't know life without me. She was my everything.
Is it love? Is it love? Taylor Blackwell was found dead at Wood Springs Suite, Sacramento on February 28th. Buckner says she was under the impression Taylor was staying at her best friend's house on the night she died. She later learned Taylor was on a date with the man she met online.
She goes on a first date with this man who was aggressively pursuing her, and she doesn't come home. And he's not arrested. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Months after Taylor's death, Buckner says she's still looking for answers from the police and the coroner's office.
I made a post on June 28th. It marked the 4th month that she had been gone, and I still didn't have any answers. I hadn't spoken to anyone since April.
We reached out to the Sacramento Police Department and the Sacramento County Coroner's Office for details about Taylor's case. They didn't give us on-camera interviews, but they did tell us this. This is still an open and active death investigation. The Sacramento Police Department is still working with the Sacramento County Coroner's Office in this case. Buckner says up until recently she hadn't heard from the detective assigned to Taylor's case or received a cause of death from the coroner's office. The coroner's office finally called after Taylor's case went viral and ABC 10 started looking into this story. Buckner says they told her Taylor's death was being investigated as if it were a homicide.
That was like somebody kicked me in my gut. Because why did you tell me this in the beginning? I honestly feel like they just didn't care. They didn't make my daughter a priority.
Buckner says at the end of the day, she just wants the truth about what happened to her daughter.
I will find out what happened to my daughter, and everybody involved will be held accountable. That is what I want.
I went to Reddit. I know that's not a credible source, but I just wanted to see what they were saying about this case. You know, what is the discussion about this case? And I found these posts here, and it's this is from 15 days ago. It says, Taylor Blackwell was a lovely young woman who I knew when she was younger. She recently died under mysterious circumstances. Help us petition the Sacramento Police Department to look into this. Sign the attached petition. Share with your friends and family. Interact here. Black Lives Matter. Well, the one thing I didn't quite understand about the change petition, and I did say this, don't give them any money. Please don't do that. But if you want to sign the petition, that's on you. You can do that if you want. But this case is technically still open. So, excuse me. So, this next person says, from what I understand, this case is still an active investigation. Meaning, petition or not, the Sacramento Police Department is still looking into the case. So how have they failed if they are still investigating? Some cases just go cold if they have no leads, and that's not PD's fault. Nonetheless, it is still very sad, and I hope they are able to close the case with some sort of justice for the family and you. Somebody replied to that and said, people are upset because no autopsy has been conducted yet, and despite Taylor dying under suspicious circumstances, where foul play is expected, the PD hasn't declared this a homicide investigation that would likely allow more resources to be expended on solving the case. That's all I know so far, so maybe someone else has more information. Then that same person that said the case was open, said the autopsy was done, but the results have not came back yet, which is usually how autopsies go when not expedited. But they supposedly did expedite this autopsy. That's what the coroner said. Continuing on, it says, only information I've seen that was recent was an ABC 10 article who spoke to the coroner and police department. Without results from an autopsy yet, they cannot classify it as a homicide. I also read there was no blood at the scene and whatnot, which is most likely why results have and were not been expedited. You can't get answers if they do not have any, is all I'm saying. Then this I thought was interesting. It says, her mom said that Taylor's body was bruised to S during the funeral. I'm not saying that claim is valid or that it points to foul play, but I will say this. The motel she was fake found at is around the corner from my house in the Parkways. It is a haven for drugs and prostitution. It is basically ignored by the PD under the guise of, quote, well, they're here and not in the neighborhoods, end quote. Apparently, Taylor had met up with a man from Instagram. I feel like this man was a sex trafficker and was either looking for his next victim or was already grooming her. The other theory I have is that they had met up for sex and there was a disagreement that became physical. I'm curious as to why this man and the female accomplice he was later seen with were not questioned more thoroughly or aren't being treated as persons of interest. Rest in peace, Taylor. You did not deserve this. Then somebody wants an explanation as to how a change works. I'm not going to get into that. Someone else says, tragic, hope justice is served. Next person, wait, there wasn't even an autopsy? WTF. The next person, wow, way too much time has passed for them to not even give the family a cause of death. No doubt if this was a blonde white girl at an upscale hotel, media coverage and police response would have been radically different. I hope this new attention causes them to step up. Then they got 3 down votes. I don't know a whole lot about Reddit, but the person that originally started the thread that said that they knew Taylor when she was younger and that she was a nice girl says, I don't know why people are downvoting you. I agree. I'm sure the police have lots of stuff to do and whatever, but the lack of media coverage and the excuses people make for it moving so slowly are unacceptable. Then another person had posted, this is a death that yields no results, Taylor Blackwell. And Reddit posted and said, out of respect for ongoing law enforcement investigations, to protect the family of the victim or victims, and to discourage witch hunts, we require all cases to be at least 6 months old before self-posts discussing them are allowed. In addition, many fresh disappearance/murder mysteries resolve quickly. If you're trying to increase publicity for a missing person's case, head over to the Reddit crime community. And I did want to share this too, and then I'm going to end this. But her friends spoke to ABC 10, and I'll read through this just quickly. It says, this is from ABC 10, Sacramento. She became more like a sister to me. Taylor Blackwell's friends discuss her character and their grief. Taylor Blackwell, 19, was found dead at a Sacramento hotel room on February 28th. Months later, her friends are still trying to make sense of her mysterious death, and it again is wrote by Janelle Johnson. This time was wrote on July 18th, 2020 at 1:19 p.m. Life after loss is hard, and it's more difficult to heal when you have no answers on what took your loved one's life. That's how family and friends of 19-year-old Taylor Blackwell feel. The young woman was found dead in a room at Woodspring Suites, Sacramento on February 28th. Taylor's mother, Chiffon Buckner, is still waiting for a cause of death months after her daughter's mysterious death. Talk about the mayor tweeting, which I did cover that. Alright. Aaron Carson, or Aaron A. Carson, 20, was Taylor's roommate at the time of her death. She was one of the first people Buckner called when she received news that Taylor died. Quote, she asked me to help her find her baby because the way she got the call. We didn't know where Taylor, was at, Carson said. I didn't believe it at first. I was just hoping her phone was dead. I definitely didn't believe it or process it until the funeral, end quote. Carson said not knowing what happened to her friend of 9 years has slowed the grieving process. Quote, you can't heal from a trauma that you don't know about. You don't know what you're healing from. So how can you heal? It's heartbreaking to know that this isn't the first black girl, but it was my black girl. It's hard to process, end quote, Carson said. Carson says she wants people to know that Taylor loved the black community and believed in supporting other black people and uplifting black youth. Quote, I just really hope that the community hears this story and wants to help her as much as she was willing to give herself to the community, end quote, Carson said. Trinity Williams, another lady that will speak here in a minute, who was 17, helped Taylor's story go viral after she shared Buckner's Facebook post about Taylor's death on social media. Singer Trey Songz came across the post and shared it on his Instagram to his millions of followers. Quote, I felt like seeing how hurt her mother was and how silenced she'd been by everybody. I just wanted her to be heard. This isn't just about Taylor. This has happened to multiple black women before, Williams said. I just wanted to get it out just because she's my friend and close to my heart, and she's helped me through everything in my life, end quote. Williams said Taylor was a girl who put her full trust in God at all times and kept her head up even during difficult times. Quote, we've all looked up to her like, I want to be like Taylor. She's someone you could just hit up, call, and she'd tell you what you needed to hear. People need to know that this is a person who didn't deserve what she got, end quote, she said. Williams said it hurts not knowing what happened to her friend. Quote, she wasn't the person that you would even think someone would want to do anything to her. It's just surprising to me that she's even gone, because it definitely wasn't her time, end quote, Williams said. Nia Morris, 20, described Taylor as a, quote, beautiful, intelligent person. She wasn't afraid to tell you the truth even if you didn't want to hear it. She was the type of person that would give you her last. She was always going out of her way to help people, and it really sucks that people aren't doing the same, end quote. Morris said she would have never thought she'd receive a call that Taylor was found dead in a hotel room. Quote, it all just makes absolutely no sense. It's really hard to process because my imagination runs wild when I try to think about what could have possibly happened with the facts I've been presented with, end quote, Morris said. Morris said she wants people to know that Taylor had big dreams for her life. Quote, she wanted to put herself out there and really make a difference in the world. There's not many people you can say that you're really close to who want to take on something as big as that, end quote, Morris said. Jasmine Johnson, 20, met Taylor in middle school. Quote, we just clicked instantly. She always brought out my more outgoing side and stood up for me as a friend too, Johnson said. Whenever I needed her, I'd call her. She became more like a sister to me. We were very close, end quote. Johnson said Taylor was amazing to everyone, friends, family, and classmates. Quote, she was definitely someone I could look up to. I saw my kids calling her auntie. She was a great role model and great figure to have in anyone's life, end quote, she said. Johnson said Taylor's death has left her questioning everything. Quote, I don't have any answers. I feel like if I had answers or any type of more information, it would help. It would kind of help me heal on a situation a little bit more, Johnson said. Knowing that everything is still kind of fresh and we still don't really know anything, it's making it harder for us to get closure with the situation, end quote. Cherie Smith, I think that's how you pronounce that. We'll find out in a second. That's Taylor's younger cousin. She said she lost herself when Taylor died. Quote, I never thought I'd have to bury my cousin. I always thought they would have to bury me first, and every day I think about that, end quote, Smith said. Smith said Taylor supported her like nobody else. Quote, "If nobody was proud of me, Taylor was," she said. "When I went back to school to get my GED, she was juiced. She kept me on track. She always told me what I needed to do in a way that I would really feel her," end quote. Tianzane Smith, I hope I pronounced that right. Taylor meant the world to Tianzane Smith. Quote, "Though we were cousins, we grew up in the same house and were more like sisters," Smith said. "She was my confidant, my protector," end quote. Smith said life isn't the same without Taylor. Quote, "Some days it feels impossible to go on without her, not being able to eat, sleep, truly live," she said. "But I remind myself if my auntie, Chiffon Buckner, can get through this, there is nothing I can't or won't get through," end quote. Smith said the family won't be able to properly mourn until they receive answers about Taylor's death. Quote, "How do you mourn someone's death and don't even know how they died in the first place?" End quote. So let's watch this video.
Who was all involved in getting this post online and it going viral? Trinity? So can you tell me a little bit about that?
So my initial thought about it first when I saw her mom's Facebook post, we've been starting to try to share it out since February, and I felt like seeing how hurt her mother was and how silent she's been by everybody. I just wanted her to be heard, because this isn't just Taylor. This has happened to multiple black women before. So I just wanted, just because she's my friend and close to my heart, she's helped me through everything in my life. Multiple reasons why I'm here today is because of Taylor, and I just wanted to get it out.
Okay. So, Mia, tell me, how would you describe Taylor?
Taylor was a beautiful, intelligent person. She wasn't afraid to tell you the truth, even if you didn't want to hear it. And she was the type of person that would just give you her last. She was always going out of her way to help people, and it really sucks that people aren't doing the same.
Okay. So, Jasmine, what kind of friend was Taylor to you?
Well, Taylor was my best friend. I met her in middle school, and I don't know, I feel like we just clicked instantly. We're kind of opposite, it was kind of opposites attract with us. She always brought out my more outgoing side and stuff like that, and she stood up for me as a friend too. Whenever I needed her, I called her. My family, she became more like a sister to me, not even like a friend. My family was her family, and I was, we were very close, so.
Okay. And Renee, I got it right? Mm-hmm. I really like your name, by the way. What was your reaction when you found out that Taylor had died?
Me and Taylor lived together, so her mom called me first, and she asked me to help her find her baby, because the way she got the call, we didn't know where she was at. I didn't believe it at first. I was just hoping her phone was dead or something like that. I definitely didn't really believe it or process it for at least 12 years.
So, Taylor died at the end of February, and it's July, and there still aren't any answers as to what happened to her. How have y'all been feeling as her close friends, not knowing anything?
I would say it hurts most that we don't know anything, because just like her mom said, we wouldn't want anybody to harm Taylor at all. She wasn't the person that you'd even think that someone would want to do anything to her. She's always been a giving person, so it's just surprising to me that she's even gone, because it definitely wasn't her time at all. And especially how it's happening, how it's playing out now, it's this is nothing she would ever. You can never put her name next to rest in peace or anything. It just doesn't feel real. In all honesty.
Yeah, it's really hard because she was so smart. So it's you could never imagine that you would get a call saying that she was found dead in a hotel. Like, it all just makes absolutely no sense, and it's really hard to process because my imagination runs wild when I try to think about what could have possibly happened with the facts that I have been presented with. So it's really hard.
Yeah, it's definitely hard for me too. It just makes me like want to question everything. Like, you know, I don't have any answers, so it's just like what happened. It just leaves me like completely clueless. So I feel like if I would have answers or like any type of more information, like it would kind of help me like heal on the situation a little bit more. But just knowing that everything is still kind of fresh and we still don't really know anything, it's like making it harder for us to like get closure with the situation.
Yeah, I think it's definitely made the grieving process slower. Like, you can't heal from a trauma that you don't know about. You don't know what you're healing from, so how can you heal? It's heartbreaking to know that this isn't the first black girl, but it was my black girl.
Right.
So you can't get past that. It's hard to process.
Yeah. That would make me cry. So, when people Google the name Taylor Blackwell and they start reading about her, what do you guys want people out there to know about Taylor and who she was?
I say this is a girl that she put her full trust in God at all times, and she kept her head up, everything. Even when she didn't have her life on track, she had a goal to get her life on track. This is a person, like, I could say, speaking for all of us, we've all looked up to her like, man, I want to be like Taylor in this time when I'm down. Or I want to be like, I need Taylor right now, you know. She's just someone that you can just hit up, call, and she'll tell you what you need to hear. And I think that's what they really need to know, that this is a person that didn't deserve anything that she got.
Anybody else?
I feel like they should definitely know like how much of an amazing woman she was, like just like overall, like she was great to everyone, her friends, her family, like students at school, like just overall she was just a great person, you know, always willing to help people, strong-minded, like all of that. So she was definitely someone that like I could look up to. I saw my kids like, you know, calling her auntie, stuff like that. She's definitely a great role model, great figure to just have in anyone's life.
I would love for them to know how much she loved her community. Taylor was very pro-black, very support your people, uplift the youth, and I just really hope the community hears this story and wants to help her as much as she was willing to give herself to the community.
Do you have anything, Mia?
I just want people to know that she had such big dreams and plans for herself, going to college and studying political science, trying to put herself out there to make a difference in the world. And there's not many people that you can say that you are really close to that want to take on something as big as that.
Anything else you guys want to say about Taylor?
Yeah, right. We just all love him. This is the only reason why we out here in this heat. To be honest.
She know we hate the heat.
Right. She hates the heat.
Okay. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, even though I had read that, I still wanted to play that because you get a different feel when it's actually the people saying it. And you can kind of tell the personalities of the friends, and you can tell that they're good girls. You know, even the one on the end that she lived with, you know, you could tell that she really cared a lot about Taylor. So, I'm going to leave it at that, but we do have some new clues and some new information, especially from her mom. And, yeah, I'm curious as to why they haven't put more focus on this man that she was at the hotel with. And I don't know that they haven't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that, but, like I say, when this autopsy comes out, when it finally does come out, and they finally get that back, I would hope that there are going to be some more clues that are going to be released regarding this, because it still stinks. I mean, this case is stinking. It's reeking of foulness. So, I'm going to leave you guys at that, but I wanted to update that case. So thanks for watching, guys.